Hello and welcome to Math 100. This is a video that's going to show you how to get started and how to progress through the course and how to check on your grade throughout the course. Let's get started. I went ahead and logged into my computer and came to my BlazorNet screen. And so here I'm going to log in with the same username and password as I have for a John Wood computer. I'm doing this to be able to access my email and, most importantly, my Canvas, which is where your instructions are for starting this course. And so here in my Launchpad, or you could probably look down here also, I've just dragged a few up here that are the ones I use the most, but you're going to want to click on Canvas. And come over here to Courses. And we're looking for Technical Mathematics. And here's the home page. Some of the highlights of these directions are there are two parts to this course. The first and largest portion of the class is with Aleks.com. 90% of your grade comes from your Aleks performance. The second part, or 10% of your grade, is contextual and will help in everyday skills and applications. There are modules in Canvas that will help with some of these ideas. Others will refer back to topics you learned in Aleks. Complete your Aleks materials before starting on the contextual packet. And then we'll skip down here. Your first objective is to read the first page on the modules list, Getting Started with Aleks. It has essential information about signing up at Aleks.com, and that information includes my course code and then directions on how to get started in Aleks with a combination of my course code and then the 16-digit code in the packet that you purchase from the bookstore, and you scratch it off on the back and there's your 16-digit code, which keeps track of your progress for the course. After signing up and taking your initial assessment, check back here and read the rest of the pages having to do with Aleks. All Aleks related pages should be read in your first week of class. Okay, so it says your first objective is to read the first page in the modules list. So here's modules. And we have Getting Started with Aleks, the syllabus, Essentials for Aleks, Keeping Records, Assessments, the tutoring schedule, and a grade sheet. The Aleks Final and switching to the contextual packet, and then what's going to be covered. So these are the topics and quizzes for the 10% or the contextual part of your grade. But we need to do Aleks first. So we're going to click here, Getting Started with Aleks. And hopefully you've already purchased your 16-week Aleks packet from the bookstore. There are 3 PDFs to choose from that will help you with Aleks sign up. Click the blue link to download the PDF that is best suited for you. So if you're a first day student, which is probably most everybody, if you've never taken an Aleks class here at John Wood, you're going to need to click on this one. If you have taken this course before and you're finishing it up, so you didn't finish it last semester, you need to click on how to continue working in the same course. Or, and this is probably just a few people, how to renew Aleks for a new course. So if you took Math 010 or 020 and now you're in Math 100, you would click on this one. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to click on the first day Aleks instruction sheet. If on campus, log on to an Open Learning Center computer or a library computer. If not, go to www.aleks.com, or if you're on campus, double-click on the Aleks icon. On the left-hand side of the Aleks homepage, under the Registered Users box, click on New User Sign Up Now. In the left-hand box entitled Aleks with a Class, Using Aleks with a Class, enter the appropriate 10-character course code from the course code sheet. And so let's look back at our modules to see where that is. That code is right here. And so that's what you'll need to enter in first. Check for correct entry on screen titled Confirm Enrollment Information and then click Continue. On the next screen you can choose I've never used Aleks before unless you have your previous login information available. Enter your 20-character access code from your Aleks packet, so this is the code that you scratched off and purchased in the bookstore, and click Continue. The access code under the scratch off area of the Aleks packet. Okay, and then it's going to walk you through typing in some demographic information, and it's going to give you a different login and password that's just unique for Aleks. So this is not the same login and password information that you use for John Wood computers and to get into your Canvas and email. So please write this down or keep it somewhere where you will remember it. Write it down in your math notebook or wherever. Your account will be created and you may continue with the initial assessment. So this is the first test in Aleks that kind of places you in the course. It will know and make you work through topics that you need to learn in order to pass the course. So now that you have your course code and your code from the bookstore, you're ready to get started. So let's go ahead and go to the Aleks website. And so I'll pause the video while you either sign up now as a new student or log in with your old information. Okay, so I'm a new student and it's asking me to take my initial assessment. So I'm going to go ahead and take that assessment. You can pause the video, take your assessment, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I've finished my initial assessment and here's how I did. I'm about 41% done with the Aleks portion of the class. And it says, here's your new report for Aleks Math. Move your mouse to a pie slice to see what you are ready to learn, then click on any available topic. And it doesn't matter which one you click on first, and so as I mouse around these slices of the pie, it gives me different links I can click on. This is the homework I need to cover, and so the dark part of my slice shows what I've already mastered or what it learned about me just in that initial assessment. And the light part, or the part that isn't shaded in, is all of the homework I need to cover, or all of these links in order to progress through the course. So I'm going to just click on this first one. Whole number place value problem type 2. And it takes me to a problem. Give the digits in the 100,000s place and the 10,000s place. And so if I knew how to do this problem already, I could go ahead and type in some answers and click next. Or if I was completely lost, I could click explain, and it should give me a textbook explanation on how to progress through the problem. So there's a couple different resources here. Here's the Aleks explanation. And if you want to add this page to your notes, you can click print and it'll print this out for you to add to your notes, and you can use this and write some of your own notes. Or over here in resources from your instructor, there's a PDF page of notes and a YouTube video. So either way, whatever you would like to do for your notes is fine. Or you can just study this information and hand write your own problems and your work in your notes. Either way is fine. Any notes that you print off, hand write, or a combination of both can be taken with you to the final exam and can also be used on all of your other assessments. And then I would complete this problem and move on. Once I do some homework in my pie, it's going to add a little green part next to that blue bar. And to check and see how I'm doing, you go up here to report, and it shows me my progress. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's my blue bar. Yep, I'm at 41%. So I need to do a little bit of homework before taking an assessment. So you can pause the video if you'd like, play around in the pie, do some homework, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I've done a little bit of homework in my pie, and now I'd like to see where I'm at. So I'm going to click on Report, scroll down to the bottom, and I'm at a 41 plus 2. So I have a little bit of homework left to do before I take another assessment. Once this little green plus 2 is a plus 8 to 10 or so, then I can take another assessment. And so ideally, this 41 plus 10, and then I go up here to assignments and take another assessment. If I do well on that assessment, I would expect this blue bar to then jump up to a blue 51, and then plus 10, and it jumps up to a blue 61, plus a green 10, jumps up to a blue 71. And so as soon as I'm ready to do that, I'm going to get out of here first, click on assignments, and these will be links as soon as they're unlocked. And you could start here with scheduled assessment for week 1. Again, as soon as you get to a green 8 or 10%. Then click on these assessments, either the scheduled one or the optional one, it doesn't matter. And that's how you progress through the course. Let's go back into Canvas and take a look at the syllabus. Or the syllabus is also here in Aleks under Resources. Yep, the syllabus and the grade sheet. But I'm going to go ahead and go back into Canvas and we'll take a look at it in there as well. And so here's the syllabus. And I'm not going to read all of this. You need to do so at your leisure, but I'm just going to hit a few of the main points. Okay, so here on page 3 of the syllabus, some of the same stuff we've already covered. Weekly progress assessment if you have 8 to 10% at your practice green bar. And then on to page 4. Okay, before week 16, so before the final exam, complete the contextual packet, which we'll go over in a minute, as outlined by your instructor. Request a proctored assessment by contacting the instructor and providing a date and time on which the proctored assessment will be taken at a proctor site, so in a testing room. And your proctored assessment or your final exam can be taken once a student has reached at least 70% total on the blue-green bar. So this is an Aleks. And so I think it's to your benefit to get as much of the pie finished as possible, as close to 100%. But as per the syllabus, if you have at least 70% blue bar in Aleks, then I will allow you to try the final exam. Down here on page 5, under the drop policy, this part is important. It says a student is subject to administrative drop or withdrawal, whether ahead or behind the minimum percent required, if he/she is not completing the following weekly requirements for 2 consecutive weeks after the start date. 1, meeting with the instructor. And so this is an online course, and so you won't be meeting with me. You can if you want to, but we're going to skip this one just for the purpose of this being an online course. The rest of these are important. Completing Aleks and learning activities on the pie, and completing the required assessments. And so there isn't a grade really as you're progressing through the course. Your main grade is at the end. But there is a midterm grading scale, and so this is based solely on your Aleks progress. And so if at midterm or week 8 you would like an A, you need to have 73% blue bar or higher. If you would like a B in the class at midterm, this is where your blue bar needs to be, and so on. And then your final grading scale, so your final grade for this class is 25% of your best blue bar in Aleks, plus 65% of your final exam in Aleks, and then your contextual packet here in Canvas is worth 10% of your grade. And then this is the 10-point grading scale. And then a few reminders about how to progress through the course with the green and blue bar. And this is a student course completion record. And so if you're asking yourself, well, how much time am I supposed to log every week? How many hours am I supposed to do? And where should my blue bar be at the end of each week? Here's that record. And so at the end of week, well, to start the class, you need to take the initial assessment. And then by the end of week 1, please log 3 hours and have a 20% blue bar to be considered caught up. You have to have both of these. And so I realize some students are taking the initial assessment and testing at like 50, 60, 70 some percent. And you may look at that and go, oh, well, I don't have to do anything now till like week 7, 8, or 9. And that's not true. What I would like you to do is, even if you are ahead and the initial assessment places you ahead, please log the required hours. At that rate, you will finish the course early and be able to start the contextual packet early and then be done with the entire thing early in the course. And then you can focus your time on the rest of your studies. Back in the module page, there's some of the other stuff that I've covered that were covered in the syllabus. So here's that same grade sheet again. And then a note here that you need to read on your own about the Aleks final and switching to the contextual packet. And as we scroll down here, there's getting started with the contextual packet. And here's the topics that are just here in Canvas. And once you've covered these topics and read the information, then you'll be able to take the quizzes under these topics. So let's click on one. Just click on Ruler Basics. And again, don't start on any of the contextual packet until you're completely finished with Aleks. So here's some notes on Ruler Basics. And click Next. Then it goes into Measuring. And so it looks like I've covered everything for Ruler Basics and Measuring, so now I'm ready for the quiz on that. And it's worth 9 points, and I would click Next to take the quiz. If you want to see how you're doing, especially once you've gotten to the contextual packet and see what your scores are on the quizzes, you could click on Grades, and it'll show you your grades on your quizzes and what your average is in the class so far. I hope I've covered everything so that you feel confident in your ability to get started with this technical math class. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Thanks for watching.